Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Storey House Books with Tiana, and we are on part 2 of our new series, creating a simple junk journal. It's beginner friendly. The last video we did the cover, which you see here. We did the outside, inside cover. We even had a little bitty mistake, and we fixed that with some bookbinding tape here. So I think this looks pretty good. Tonight we are going to work on the signatures. So tonight what you will need will be obviously your cover. I'm using wax thread for my binding, and black for this particular one. You'll need some scissors, and awl or a pokey tool of some sort. We're also going to go ahead and work on the cover, so I've got this book plate that we're going to put on. So with that, we'll need some brads as well. You will need a needle, of course. A needle. Any needle will do, something large though, and your signatures, and in your paper, or your papers and your signatures, whichever. So what we're going to do first is, first I want to do a couple little shout outs here. So we've got, I want to thank you guys for your comments: Julie, Vicky, Brenda, Carmen, also known as Carmageddon. I love saying that, Carmageddon, love it. Jess, Lacey, Brandy, Kathy, Leanne, Sandy, Scott K, and LaDonna, even the lovely Miss Margaret from Seven Plaza. Oh my god, I was so fangirling about that she left a comment on one of my hashtag ABC April 2025 videos. Seven Plaza, can you believe it? I'm so excited. Anyway, I'm fangirling again, but thank you guys all for your comments. I really appreciate it, and your well wishes. You guys are awesome. Okay, that's for the shout outs. Now, like I said, we're going to be working on signatures. Let me move some of these supplies out of the way. And we're going to finish up the cover. So let's work on the cover first and go ahead and put the book plate on that I want to use. So it's a little bent. Let me straighten this out a little bit. Now, you could glue it. I got these from Amazon. You could glue it if you wanted to. I would bet that art glitter glue would work fine, because actually I glued on the other one that I was working on for this order. I glued this on, metal piece, and it works just fine. But for this one, we're going to use brads. So I've got some Tim Holtz brads here that we're going to use. I'm going to use this color, I believe. Yeah, these here. So I need 2 of those. And my pokey tool. This is an awl. Yeah. And what we're going to do is poke some holes. We're going to place the brads. You'll see the brad legs here. We're actually going to cover this inside cover with probably an envelope of some sort, so you won't see them in the finished product. So let's go ahead and place this here. Let me push that in some. There we go. And make sure I'm in frame. I'm always bad about that. Okay, so I'm going to place this probably right about there. Now, I've got to consider that the spine cover, which is going to be something like this, probably in brown, but the same faux leather, right? I don't want to go too far to the center, because I don't want it to be caught by that faux leather, right? So I'm probably going to come in about that much anyway, so centering it will be fine. I think that's a good spot. Let me take a look here. I'm going to go right about there, right above center. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to hold it like this so I can see it. You guys, I'm sorry. I think we're going to go right there. Do I want to go center with it? No, I don't. Alright, so we're going to go about 2/3 of the way up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pokey tool and just make some marks here of where I want my brads to go. Just going to punch little holes. Small little holes here. Then I'll take that plate off, and then go ahead and punch all the way through with my awl. Okay. There. Now, if I did this right, our brad should fit right inside there, like so. We'll open the legs up here. Now, I like to take the back of my awl and just kind of smash it down, and that Makes it nice and flat. Okay. All right, let's do the second one here. Oh, I hope I got that straight. Yeah, we're good. Put that in there. I think that's straight. Oh, there's a little bit of give in the holes there. They're a little bit bigger than the brads, but that's okay. Open these up again. Take the back of my awl and just press that down. Right in the center. And that will flatten out your brad. Okay, easy peasy, yeah? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All done. Now, next bit. Okay, so for the sake of time, I went ahead and chose my papers, but I did want to show it to you guys. I'm only doing 2 signatures because you're probably wondering why, because with such a large or wide spine, the 2.5 spine, 2.5? Yeah, 2.5 spine, why am I only using 2 signatures? Because this particular journal that I'm making is mostly writing journal, and it's only lightly decorated. It's meant to have plenty of room for the new owner to add their own decorating, okay? And I wanted to give them plenty of room to do so. So, for example, this one's same exact size, 2 signatures, right? 10 pages each, lightly decorated with a few envelopes and whatnot, and pockets. But you'll see there's plenty of room here for her, him or her, for them. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be better with my pronouns. For them to decorate and customize this as they want. So they have plenty of room to grow here, okay? That is the point, all right? So, these are digitals that I used. I'll put these in the description below if you're interested. So I do have 4 different digitals that I'm using. One's called Dark Academia by Print Parlor Gallery. I think that's what it says. Print Parlor Gallery. I'm also using Autumn Academia by My Porch Prints, Haunted Academia by Ink Page Journals, and Dark Academia by Swipes and Keepies. So I will put the links to those shops in my description below. Okay? So, again, 2 signatures, 10 pages each, for a total of 40 pages front and back in each, so a total of 80. Okay? I know it looks small, but there's 80 pages here, right? So this is the first one. These digitals are from the Haunted Academia kit. Beautiful pages. I went ahead and printed them out. This was actually printed on coffee dyed paper, so you know it's got the coffee dyed color on the back to go ahead and write on. If I'm double-sided printing, it kind of depends on the image, whether or not I print it on white or coffee dyed paper. So for the images, for this one, because the actual image itself is already a beige color, I didn't want it too dark, so I went ahead and printed it on white. So all these images you see are printed on white, and they're double-sided. As you can see that they're already an aged color, so there's no reason for me to, use the coffee dyed paper on it. And it looks beautiful the way it is. The images came out beautiful, nice and crisp. My new printer is amazing, by the way. I love it. It prints, and this is in normal. I don't know if you even, look at this. This is in normal print. I used to use either Vivid on my Epson or High on my Canon as far as print quality. This is normal. Okay, I mean I've tested it in high quality as well. There is a big difference, but just normal alone is fantastic. So I am very happy with my new HP printer. Super Mega Tank, I think it is. I forgot the actual model. If you're interested, let me know, and I'll let you know in the comments. But I went ahead and printed these. I only used coffee dyed paper on the cover of the signature. A double-sided, plenty of writing space in here. And you'll see, I think these are really beautiful images for this. I went ahead and clipped off the white edges as well, as you might have noticed. But yeah, and here's our center page is going to be a writing space, journaling space, right here. Now, I am probably going to put some other pieces in here, probably some envelopes, and maybe a bag or something, I've got some pieces lived that out that I think I might actually bring over here and put in here, just to make it a little bit different than the other ones. That's the first signature. Second one, again, coffee dye paper for the cover. The rest is all printed on white copy paper. This is I use 24 pound, if you're wondering, by the way, paper for my journals. I do have 28 and I do have up to 32, but normally I use 24. I don't use 20. 20 I think is just a little too thin, and when you're double printing or double-sided, I always get worried that it's going to bleed through, or if you're printing on one side, I don't want to see it on the other side. So 24 pound paper works great. I love the weight of it as well, and it does really well when you're coffee dyeing it. In here, there's the center. I love this map. Isn't that beautiful? And normal print quality. This printer is amazing. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So yeah, these are the pages that I picked for this one. Like I said, there are 10 pages. Look at that. Isn't it pretty? 10 pages per signature for a total of 40 pages front and back, right? And that's the end of this signature. Okay, we will be putting tabs on these as well. I'll get those here in a minute. Probably will be stamping those. I'm not sure what else we'll do because, you know, I've already cut them and already folded them. I am not going to ink them. I'm going to let the owner make that decision for themselves. Some people like to ink, some people don't. So again, since the purpose of this journal is to allow for owner customization and, you know, a lot of do-it-yourself stuff, I'm leaving them uninked. Okay. So, all right, we've got two signatures. The next step that I do is I do the binding here. So what I use is a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. Now, the most common one I've seen as far as pamphlets is the 3-hole. I used to use a 3-hole, now I use 5. I think it's a little more sturdy, especially as much as I yank on mine, and put as much as I put into mine sometimes. I just like it better. It's personal preference, okay? If you want to use 3, use 3. If you want to use 5, I'll show you how, okay? There is no right or wrong here. It is personal preference, all right? So, how do we do this? Well, I do a lot of eyeballing on this, okay? But you're probably going to want to use a ruler, which I have here. Now, my cover is 8.5 tall, okay? We know this already, right? There, 8.5. Meaning, it's 8.5 tall? The spine itself is 2.5. Now, how do I decide where to put the signatures? I usually start with the middle hole. Since there'll be 5 holes, 2 lines of that. I start with the middle one. That's going to be in the center, okay? So, like I said, I normally eyeball this. If you want to measure it, you're going to want to measure your middle at 4 1/4, okay? So right about there is where your middle would be, okay? So let's go ahead and I'm going to grab a pencil and I'm just going to mark the middle here. Why does that not look like 8.5? No. That's weird. Because I know it's 8.5. It better be. Because they normally are. What am I doing? 8.5. Yeah, see, it shows 8.5 here, but this ruler is not showing 8.5. Which is making me think this ruler is wonky. This should show 8.5 right on the nose. Oh, it does. I was looking at the wrong one. Okay, we're good. Anyway, yeah, 8.5. So 8.5, the middle of that would be 4 1/4. So, let me make sure this is straight, and then I'm going to mark 4 1/4 for you. That right there is the middle. So let's go ahead and make a straight line across so I know where to put the center holes for this binding. Okay, that's the center. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the center dot, which is right here. I believe that's the center of the, we're at 2.5, so it'd be 1 1/4. I was close. Actually, it's right there. So that is the center dot there, okay? What I'm going to do is halfway between the center dot and the edge of the spine, I'm going to put another dot in the center, and that's where I'm going to put my signature, okay? So this is 1 1/4. Half of that would be, let's see, 1 1/4 be 1 2/8. No. 1 1/8. No, that's still not right. I'm trying to think. It's gonna be, hang on, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. All right, so 5/8. 1 2 3 4 5. That's the center there. Okay, so 5/8 is what I'm looking for here. So again, 1 2 3 4 and 5. That's my center there. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and make a straight line, and then that will be, hopefully I'll get a straight line. Let me line it up with some dots here. With some straight lines here. Here we go. Okay, I think I got it right there. I think I got it. All right. That's where one signature will go, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. See where that dot is again, it's right there. And we'll make another straight line here. Let me line it up with the edge of the spine. That looks about right. Okay. All right, that is where, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's where my spines are going, or my signatures are going to go. Okay. Now, where do I put the other 4 dots? Well, easy peasy. Now I start from about 1/2 inch from where the book inside book cover ends, so right about here. Okay. So I'm just going to take my ruler, like so, and come down about 1/2 inch. And put 2 dots, right? 2. And then halfway between this dot and this dot will be the 3rd dot. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just, you know, you can eyeball it. You don't have to measure it. But if you want to, go ahead. I'm going to eyeball it now. That looks about half. So there we go there. And then half will be right here. And we are going to make a template for poking the holes into the signatures. So if you're wondering, I'll show you how to do that too. Here and here. That's about 1/2 inch. Halfway between these two is right about there. And there. Now, if I did it right, these should be straight lines. Yep. And yep. And I think we're good. We are good. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get my stencils set. So how do I do that? Well, I take a scrap piece of paper, file folder usually. I've got plenty of these strips. And I will cut this the size or the height of the book itself, right? And I will label which is the top. Let me cut that off. All right, now, next step here is I fold this in half. Actually, I'm gonna put this behind here. There we go, right there. All right, now what I do to measure the holes, now this might sound complicated, but this is the way I do it, is I put my stencil behind the spine back here, And I try to line up the middle of it with one of the lines of one of the rows of dots here. Okay, so as best you can. Then I'll take my awl and I will actually poke through there in an attempt to make an indentation in the stencil. Okay. Just do all the way down on each dot in that row. And it should have left dots on the stencil, which it did. Very light stencils. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to poke my holes through. That is my stencil for the holes for the signature. So I'll fold this in half along those dots. And now I have my stencil to place inside my signature to punch my holes. See? Let me just go through them again. Like so. Okay. Now I'm just gonna give that a nice crease there. And there's my stencil. Okay. Now put that over there. Now, which one am I gonna start with? Make sure you got your stencil or your signature right side up when you're doing this. I can't tell you how many times I've done this. About a handful of times at least, upside down. And I've had to cut the signatures out and start over. So, what we're going to do is... Ooh, I forgot my clips. Hold on one second, I brought back. I forgot clips. Okay, knee clips. Okay, which one are we going to start with? It doesn't really matter. Make sure, like I said, you got yours right side up. And this is right side up, so the top will be this way. What we're going to do first is one more time, just make sure we've got everything lined up. And then we're going to clip the signature pages together so they don't move while we are poking holes in it. We don't want that. Okay, if we're going to take our, double check again which way is up here. Okay, you can take your stencil, make sure you put the top at the top, right? Now, you're going to notice that it is longer than your signatures. That's what you want, which is fine. That's where the edge of your book is going to be. So you want to line it up so you have the same amount sticking out on either end. You don't want it too far to the top of your book or too far to the bottom. You want it even, right? So see here how I've got it fairly even. I got like 1/8 of an inch on either end there. You guys see that? Let me make sure you guys see that. I've got like 1/8 of an inch on either side here and there. Okay? That's what you're looking to do. Make sure it's even. Alright, now you just take your awl and you poke your holes. Yeah? Here we go. Poke that through, twist, pull. You want to hold your stencil together. Now, if you have one of those bookbinding, I forgot what they call them, but they're shaped like a V, and you actually lay your signature in it and poke your holes through it. I don't have that. I just do it this way. Because if you have a stencil, this works just fine. Okay, poke my hole through there, and push. Push out the other side. I'm going to do a little twist, pull it out, Go the other direction. Now you can actually lay this into a book if you want to give it some more stability. Lay it into a book. I used to do it that way. It's fine if you want to do it that way. Just give yourself more stability so you don't have to actually hold it. It works just fine as well. Here. And push through. Alright. And there you go. So, put the stencil aside. We're going to grab our thread, which I put where? Right here. And to measure the amount of thread, I use I call it 3 and a bit. Find the start of this thing. Here's the starting gate. Well, if I could find out where the thread starts. There we go. I think that's it. Is that it? Yep. So I call it 3 and a bit. 3 and a bit, what does that mean? That means the width is, or the length is 1, 2, 3 and a bit. The length of your book, of your signature. Yeah? Grab your needle and pay attention. It gets a little tricky when you're doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. Alright, again, I'm using wax thread here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from the inside and go through the middle here. And remember to leave a tail. Don't pull it all the way through. You want to leave some sort of tail to tie off at the end. We're going to go back through the next hole up, like so. Like this. We're going to go back out through the top hole. Pull that through. Now, here's where it gets tricky. We're going to go back in through the second hole. Okay? Make sure you don't pierce the thread that's already there. Okay? Alright. Then we're going to go down to the 4th hole. We're going to go out the 4th hole. Like so. We're going to go from the outside in on the 5th hole. We're going to go inside out from the 4th hole. Again, making sure we don't go through that thread. And then finally, we're going to go the outside in through the middle. And again, making sure we do not pierce that thread that's already there. Okay? Now I'll show you again, obviously, in the next signature. What I'm doing right now is making sure I've got the tails, one on each side of this middle piece. Yeah? Alright, take my needle off. You know what? I didn't even sew this into here. Why didn't you guys say anything? I was so concerned about showing you guys how to do to poke the holes that I just... Oh my god, I'm a not smart person right now. We're going to show you that again. How you're really supposed to do it. Wow, that's funny. I've never done that before. Okay, now, let's do this again. Take your cover and your signature. And before we do that, we're going to go ahead and poke the holes in our cover. Right? Good Lord, I forgot a whole step. Just take your awl and just do a little twist. Push it on through there. Give it a nice twist, make it a nice clean hole, like so. So you can see daylight. Take the next one. Twist it through. And keep doing that on all your holes that you've marked. There we go. Alright. There we go. I can't believe I just completely forgot this whole step. I was so, like, concerned about showing you the pamphlet stitch that I don't even know what I was thinking. Good Lord. So I made a mistake. I'm not perfect. That is very apparent. Okay. Now we've got our holes all done in, nice and straight, yeah? And again, make sure you got your cover the right side up before you start plugging in your signatures. All right, so we are going to hold our signature here. We're going to start in the middle. Okay, we're going to go inside out, that middle hole, or the third hole. We're going to go through the same corresponding hole in the cover. And pull that. Don't pull it too tight because you want to leave yourself a little bit of room so you can go back and forth and you can see what you're doing, okay? Then we're going to go outside in from the second hole. Oop, dropped my needle. The second hole here. There. We'll make this tail a little shorter. And then the same thing, outside in from the second hole on your signature. Like so. We're going to go inside out of the top hole. Did I put this in here right side up before I keep going? No, I made another mistake. See, make sure you got your signature in right side up. So it's good that I'm making these mistakes so you guys can see what not to do. So now that I've got it right side up, we're going to go inside out. And try this again. I think I've made all the mistakes I could possibly make so far in making this journal. Okay, second hole, outside in. Try this again. See if I can get it right this time. All right, through the signature, second hole, outside in. We're going to go inside out through the top hole. Good thing I noticed that before I tied it off. Oh, that would have really ticked me off. Corresponding hole in the cover. Okay, then we're going to go outside in that second hole. Yeah? Careful not to pierce the thread. Again, outside in of your signature. Then we're going to go down to the fourth hole, inside out. Corresponding hole in the cover. Okay, let me pull some extra thread out here. All right, down to the fifth hole. We're going to go outside in. Same with your signature, outside in. All right, now we're going to go back up to the fourth hole, inside out. Careful not to pierce that thread. And the corresponding hole where your cover. And then finally, we are going to go outside in to the middle hole again. And outside in on the middle hole of your signature. And again, be very careful not to pierce the thread that's already there, just like with the three-hole pamphlet stitch. Now, you want to make sure each of the tails, one tail is on either side of the middle of your string, of your middle string there. Now, this is where you're going to start tightening it up. You want to make sure it's centered in here, and what I do to tighten up this particular type is I'll take this side and I'll pull through here to tighten up this middle part. See how it goes down? I'll do the same thing on this side. And then I'll pull these threads. Like that. See how I tightened it up? And I'll do it again. On either side. And pull. And then pull. Okay, to check the tightness, I'll go over here and just make sure these are tight, which you can see that they're not. I'll pull up on these middle strings again, hold that tight, and then check. And we're good. You don't want to pull too tight because you do not want to tear your signatures. Okay? Make sure your signature is not centered, but not crooked, laying crooked. We're good. I'm going to take the clips off. Make sure I don't need to make any more adjustments. Everything looks straight there. Give it another little tug. Then we're going to make a square knot. So this is the left, this is the right. Yeah? Left over the right string and through. Right string over the left string and through. Left string over the right and through. And that is your triple square knot. It will not come apart. Now you can leave your string as long as you like if you want to put charms on it or whatnot. I cut mine a couple inches longer, let it hang out the bottom. And that is the first signature. Everything looks good there. Yeah? Alright, let's do it again. This time let's try it without any mistakes. Let's grab your stencil and your clips. Make sure my pages are straight here. They are. Take my clips, clip it down. Alright, grab my stencil and make sure which side is up here. This is up. Which one is the top? There's the top. That in there. Make sure I've got the edge of the book, which is the edge of my stencil, even on both sides. And we are good. And we're going to start. Take my awl and poke my first hole. Right down the center. Push that through. Go. Give it a little twist and pull it out. Okay, I'm just going to make sure all my holes are still lined up, and they are. Yep. Okay, we're going to keep on going. Slide it out. Okay. And down to the last hole here. Alright, and there we go. Our holes are done. Put the stencil aside, and we're going to grab our thread, measure out our piece, 1, 2, 3 and a bit. Thread our needle. Now if you want, you can keep your stencil if you're going to continue to use that this particular kind of stitch, or if you're doing 3. Keep that and use that for your future signatures, for your future books. I do that. Mine was old, so I needed a new one. But since most of my, or all of my journals are 8.5 by 6, I use the same stencil until it, is destroyed. All right. Again, I'm double checking, make sure I got this right side up, or which way is right side up, which is this way. Right? Yes. Okay, here we go. Again, inside out through the third hole, or the middle hole, whatever you want to call it. Make sure to leave a tail. And we're going to go through the corresponding hole in the cover. Right there. Okay. We're going to go outside in. Uh-oh. Almost lost it. Outside in. Through the second hole, yeah. And again, second hole, outside in, the signature. Inside out through the top hole. Oh, I got caught up on my clip here. Corresponding hole of the cover. Inside out. So, making sure to leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room here to tighten it up later. Alright, we're going to go down to the second hole, outside in. And the signature, outside in. Alright, now let's go down to the fourth hole, inside out. inside out of the cover. All right, 5th hole, outside in with the signature. All right, then we're gonna go inside out, 4th hole. All right, and then outside in on the 3rd or the middle hole here. Here we go. Ooh, gave myself too much slack running out of this string here. And then again through the middle hole, being very careful not to pierce the thread that's already there. And I'm having a little trouble here. Come on, there we go. And we're done. All right, now let's go ahead and I'm going to line it up and make sure it's lined up with the other signature so they're even top and bottom here, yeah. And then I'm going to start tightening it up. I'll pull on this string here. Pull on this one. You want this middle string to start to tighten down, yeah. And then you just pull on your threads, your free tails there, like that. All right, pull those tight without ripping the paper. Check. That's a little loose there, so we're going to pull that a little more. Make sure we're pulling on the right tail here. There we go. Check it again. We're good to go. And we'll make our square knot. Left over right. Right over left. Left over right. Voila, and we're done. Okay, should be good to go. All right, we are good. So the signatures are in. I just press down on these a little bit. Yep, we are good to go, you guys. And there you go, your signatures are in. Everything looks nice. What's the next step? Well, we can go ahead, let's see how much time we've got left, and we can go ahead and cover the spine. Why don't we cover the spine? I'm gonna grab some faux leather here. Alrighty, so we're going to go with a dark brown faux leather, and you'll need a rotary. I have a rotary cutter here that I use to cut it with. You can use scissors, whatever works for you. Now, the way I do this, I'm going to roll this out, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut the edge straight, or the end piece straight. Get this stuff out of the way. So, I want to lay this down, line it up here, and then cut this piece, make this a straight edge here. Just go up against my ruler. Easy peasy, yeah? And be very careful with your rotary tool. These things are normally extremely sharp. Now, what I'm going to do is, this is a 2.5 inch spine. I'm going to basically measure 1.5 inches, I believe. About 1 inch. A little over 1 inch, I think would be good on either side. So let's do here, that's 2 inches, yeah. Making sure we leave enough room for this thing to bend. So I'm going to do 2 inches on either side. So that's about 2 inches there, yeah. Over here, 2 inches would be right about there. All right, let me just make sure that this is not going to go up too far. How much space do I actually have? 2 inches is going to be too much. So we're going to do 1.5 inches on each side. All right, so line this up. 1.5 inches. So if this is the edge here, 1.5 inches will be right here. You guys can see that 1.5 inches will be here. So we're going to line this up right there. Okay. And I'm going to make a mark with a pen. That's my 1.5 inches. That's the edge of my book there. And this is also the edge of this over here. So I need to make sure I line this up straight. That's the edge right there. So I need 1.5 inches from here. So that's there. 1.5 inches would be right here. Yeah? Okay. Let's take our ruler. Line up 1.5 inches at the top and bottom using our mat. Come on now, be straight. 1.5 inches there, 1.5 inches there. And then we're going to take our rotary tool here, just cut along the ruler. And that should give us a nice straight piece. Looks really straight to me. All right, now we're going to need, oh my God, I forgot the glue too. No matter how hard I try to get all my tools together, I always forget so much stuff. Okay, I'm using Fabric because, well, we're using fabric, yeah? And, let's see. Got it here. I'm going to also go ahead and trim the top and the bottom as well. So I'm going to take my pen and mark where the top is and where the bottom is. And just take my ruler and trim that off. I'll line up this edge with a straight line here. Line this up here. And then we're going to cut. Oh, I did have the guard. I had the guard on. Let's try that again. Right here. Okay. I'm going to double check this one here. Line this back up where I want it. Double check the line there. Looks good. Okay, do the same thing. I'm going to line up this edge to a straight line here. And then do the same thing here. This should give me 1.5 inches. There we go. There's my 1.5 inches right there and right there. That looks a little short. I'm going to cut it just a little bit long because I can always cut more off, right? If you're in doubt, leave a little more on there and then cut off if you need to. Because you can't put it back once you cut it off, right? Okie dokie, let's double check this here and see if my choice was a good decision. There we go. And it was a good decision because, yep, that was a good idea. Because that was wrong. So we're good though. All right, so what are we going to do next? We are going to double check everything here. Make sure that everything is looking nice and even. Okay. So we will start with the move this over. Grab your Fabri-Tac or whichever glue you're going to use. I'm using Fabri-Tac because I'm using fabric. You don't have to cover your spine. Some people leave them exposed. They like to see that. I don't particularly like to normally. And for this book, I wanted to use the faux leather. So I'm going to cover this piece with my Fabri-Tac. Don't be shy with the glue. Okay, up, down, up, down, up, down. Da, 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 da. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to put my strings inside the book here because I don't want them getting glued. Down inside the spine, right? Okay. Now we're going to line this up. Like so, starting with the spine, and then the Fabri-Tac will give us a little bit of positioning time. So don't worry if it's not exactly straight on when you place it down. Just put it on the spine. Pull these sides up. Take a look. And then you start doing your positioning, yeah? Open up the book. Now you remember these guys here? You're going to want to take your blunt tool and push your fabric into there once you've got it even top to bottom. Are we even? Almost. Fabri-Tac will give you plenty of time to position your cover. Alright, now I'm going to flatten this in the spine. Then I'm going to push down with my blunt tool into those creases, into those grooves. Both sides. Okay. Just go and close. And it looks like we will need to do a little trimming here. That's fine. And then just start pressing down your cover here, your spine cover. Okay. I'm going to open it up again because I want that extra fabric. I want it to go inside that groove. That's what I want it to do. Just work the fabric. Okay. You can use your finger to do this. Okay. Now, you notice it is a little bit taller on one side, which is fine. We're just going to take our rotary tool and very carefully run it up along the edge and get rid of the excess. There we go. Looking good. I think we're good. So we have a little bitty sliver there. Let's see if I can get that off. Just a little tiny sliver there. Let's check the other side while we're at it. Looks like we might have a little tiny sliver right there. So let's go ahead and get that also. Carefully. Just a little sliver. See that little tiny sliver? I think we're good. All right, now I'm going to check my edges, see if I need any more glue anywhere, like I do right here. And then I will normally let that sit overnight to cure. Now, while Fabri-Tac does set pretty quickly, when they're dealing with book covers, I give it a little extra love and a little extra time. Just checking my edges. Okay, and that, I believe, is it. Just checking in my edges. Edges look good. Corners are down. All right, and that is our cover, you guys. Okay, see how it lays nice and flat inside that in the groove when you open it back up? That's what you want. Okay, so I'm actually going to lay this flat for the night, just to make sure that it sets really well in there. I'm very paranoid about this part if you haven't noticed. I want it to be nice, and I want that glue to set in that groove. Okay, we're going to let that sit overnight. And that is the signature process and the book plate there. Our signatures are in. Nice, plenty of room to add to it. So the next video, we are going to start working on the pockets and whatnot. Not the embellishment or the ephemera, the tags and journal cards and all that stuff. The way I do it is I start deciding what type of envelopes or pockets or tucks or what have you that I want to put on each page and where I want to put them, as well as the inside covers. I normally put envelopes or something on each of the inside, the front, and the inside back cover. So that's what I do next. Then we do the ephemera. We start deciding whether we're doing tags, inserts, booklets, journal cards, vintage ephemera, whatever. Once I decide on that, then we'll start decorating pages and decorating ephemera. Okay, so that process usually takes me the longest. So thank you guys for joining me tonight with the putting in the signatures, and I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave comments or questions in the comment section, and let me know if you like the video by pressing the like button. I really appreciate it. That's the best way to help out our channel and get us out there. If you're new to our channel or you're a first timer, please hit the subscribe button and the bell, and you'll get notified anytime I upload new content. Don't forget to check out the description. I'll have the digitals listed there that I used in this particular journal, as well as my most common supplies, and a link to Amazon to get to those, as well as a link to our Etsy shop. Go check it out. I'm actually adding some more handmade ephemera pieces in there. You're going to start seeing ephemera packs and specimen slides and picture holders, and a few other things are going to be going up in there too. I got a bunch of 3 flip-flop folders, or 3 flip-flop journals that I just have been working on. Those are going to go up too. So go check us out. We also have a link to our Kofi site where we got a few pieces of free ephemera for you guys to download free of charge. Go check that out as well. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do that there. All right, I'll see you guys in part 3. I'm sorry, yeah, part 3. Part 3 of this, where we start working on our pockets, tucks, flips, and whatnot. I'll see you guys then. You guys have a good night. Bye.